Hey there, and welcome to Nosto's latest webinar supporting the product launch of our new A/B testing and optimization tooling. We're all really excited for you to be joining us today. Before we dive into the meat of the webinar, though, there are a couple housekeeping items that I wanted to run through. The first is introducing our webinar speakers. So to begin, my name is Elliot Moore. I'm product marketing and customer engagement here at Nosto, and I'll really be an MC through a lot of today's webinar. Also joining me is our global head of marketing, Matt Levin, who will be speaking with the director of e-commerce from Cynthia Rowley, Emily Andrews, to go over a case study that shows how Cynthia Rowley was able to use A/B testing and optimization to drive some really interesting results and experiences for their business. Secondly, just wanted to run through a quick agenda here. So to kick off today, I'll be going over what Nosto is in brief so that we're all on the same page. From there, I'll be diving into everything around our new product offering. So I'll be starting with Nosto's approach to testing and optimization, really what drove us to create and launch this product today. After that, I'll be going through a quick demo of the actual product in our dashboard to really help show you how you can get the most out of Nosto's A/B testing and optimization tooling. And then finally, we'll be diving into that really interesting case study with Matt and Emily that will help show you how using tests can prove the power of personalization, and we'll be using Cynthia Rowley to help show that. Finally, we'll be diving into our Q&A. So again, if you do have any questions throughout any of this webinar, please don't hesitate to send them through because we will be answering them at the end as well. So to begin here, I wanted to go over a quick overview of Nosto. And simply put, Nosto is the easiest way to deliver customers personalized shopping experiences wherever they are. At the core of it all is our e-commerce intelligence engine that uses advanced machine learning algorithms, which, unlike some other personalization technologies, have exclusively been trained on e-commerce specific data for over 7 years. We here at Nosto are also renowned for our professional and friendly customer success managers and their mastery of the e-commerce industry. Their expertise and understanding of your specific business goals ensures that you not only have cutting-edge technology at your fingertips, but also have the ongoing support on how to leverage it most efficiently. With all of this in mind, we've launched a product to take us to the next level in our A/B testing and optimization tooling. So let's dive into why an A/B testing and optimization tool was the natural next step for us. The e-commerce industry has always been testing the effectiveness of different variables for as long as digital marketing has existed, whether it be email subject lines, social media ads, search ads. I think we can all agree that this is definitely something that is a common aspect of our everyday lives to try to understand what will actually bring customers to our site to begin shopping. However, testing the complete website experience has been a bit harder for individual customers to do. While we've noticed that merchants are very familiar with running their tests, across the emails or the social media ads. Many are either unsure or simply don't have the time to bring those efforts to their on-site experiences and then optimize them down to the most granular level. So we wanted to see why that was. And when we started researching the problems we would be trying to solve with testing and optimization, we identified 3 key commerce-specific needs that could be addressed by using A/B testing and optimization. Really 3 key areas that merchants were looking for to help bring them into that world of on-site personalization. And the first was that they were looking for something that was powerful but user-friendly. They really wanted something that was full of capabilities and features, but not necessarily something that would be nearly impossible to learn. They wanted to get it quickly and have it be something that was very hands-on. Secondly, they wanted something that featured minimal burn to learn. So they wanted as little negative revenue impact as possible. While they were running these different on-site personalization tests, they didn't want to be featuring a bunch of different on-site experiences that could be pushing potential customers away, and then overall losing them revenue. Finally, they wanted digestible commerce insights. So they wanted in-depth commerce-specific insights that are actually useful. And I think for a lot of us in today's day and age who are familiar with attribution and making sure that we're measuring everything across the entire customer journey from first outreach to final conversion, this is definitely something that is incredibly important to make sure none of us are wasting any money whatsoever. So this was something that we also identified was really big for our customers. So the Nosto solution here, what we did is we tried to identify 3 key features that could help really ensure that each of those pain points were being addressed fully. The first feature is testing functionality that enables merchants to test an unlimited number of elements and pages on their sites without the process being too complicated. By breaking the testing options out into campaigns versus experience, we give merchants the ability to test single one-off variables as well as strings of variables that make up an entire experience. This allows merchants to view insights in as modular of a way as they'd like. The second feature is our continuous optimization tooling. Continuous optimization essentially ensures the highest performing variations receive the most site traffic. This makes it so that the lesser performing variations have as little negative impact as your business as possible, which is really great, I know, especially for brand security. The third and final feature is our merchandising and insights, which gives insights into how different segments respond to each variable, while also revealing how each test affects the sales of specific products and brands within each segments. This third feature is likely the most important one. As I mentioned before, especially in that age of attribution, we believe that many tests will often fail because they're not built on the right hypothesis. Instead, testing is done simply to test. Nosto's merchandising and insights, together with our segmentation and insights that's already within our tooling, help to form a better hypothesis for this test. So by taking what you learn from each test and implementing those learnings into the parameters of your next test, you're able to make better data-driven decisions and essentially avoid this in the future. So let's dive into each of these different features here in a little bit more detail. In terms of our testing methodologies, A/B testing and optimization supports all of the major ones. From A/B testing itself to A/B and split testing, and of course multivariate testing, we can cover it all. We break these structures here at Nosto into essentially 2 different classifications. We have campaign tests, which would be what you would consider a pure A/B test. And then we also have experience tests here, which will be ABN, multivariate, things like that. And I'll go into that in a little bit more detail here on the next slide. So what is the difference here between campaign tests and experience tests? So campaign tests are, by their nature, tactical tests where 2 variations of one element, and this element can either be a product recommendation or a piece of content that you're personalizing on your site. It's when these 2 things are tested against each other. For example, you might test which product recommendation, which variation of one achieves the most clicks on a specific product page. So these tests would essentially only be implemented to find optimal variations of each element for each segment. So it's only going to be looking at one element and different variations of that and seeing how they affect the performance of how segments will click through your site and eventually convert. Experience tests are a little bit different here. Experience tests are when a merchant compares 2 or more variations of multiple different elements against each other to see how interactions across different elements and pages influence each other. These tests are more strategic and that the individual campaign tests within the experience will all need to inform each other for optimization of each possible journey consumers can take. This layer is what elevates the solution from an optimization tool to a personalization tool. So here's a quick example of this right now. As you can see here, this would be a homepage hero banner test. Multiple different variations are popping up here all at once. So this is a relatively straightforward campaign test that's running variations of a hero banner on your homepage to see which attracts more clicks. Once you start seeing statistically significant results, you can then dig into segmentation. There are segment insights that's already on our dash to see how results vary across different segments. Those insights are then going to be what can lead you to new tests for each segment, which will then start to become an experience test as you build them out across your entire site there. So as mentioned, typically these tools will send the same amount of traffic to each variation throughout the length of a test. This is obviously going to be really costly for anyone that's doing it because, you're not converting people who are coming to your site and you're missing a whole bunch of potential revenue there. Luckily, our continuous optimization feature will automatically deliver the highest performing variation to all future site traffic. It takes a little bit of a learning period here, but essentially what it will do, as you can see in the graph, is it will look at all the different variations. So if we're looking at this specifically, it'll look at A, B, and C. And after a brief learning period there, it will determine which variation is performing the best against your specific KPI, whether that's anything from click-through rate to actual number of conversions. And from there, it will begin funneling more and more of your site traffic to the highest performing variation based on its performance. So this is an incredibly powerful tool. As you can see in this example, at some points, B is winning, at some point C is a low performer, but overall, in the end, A wins out, and then it just starts funneling all of the traffic to variation A. And this really helps ensure against showing bad experiences to site visitors and potentially turning them away. So what does it opt for? Continuous optimization optimizes for a few key things. So this is always a big question we ask, but if you'd like to set up tests that are continuously optimized, they can be optimized for conversion rate, your average order value, your revenue per visitor, your engagement rate, essentially what we mean here is bounce rate, and your click-through rate as well. So this is really great. Any of those key KPIs, you can set up your tests and they'll continuously optimize to make sure you're performing against that KPI as best as you possibly can. So merchandising insights. So this final feature is where Nosto really separates itself from the rest of the pack. With the merchandising insights feature within the new testing tool, merchants are able to tie customers' preferred test variations to the products and brands that they are most likely to purchase. These insights allow anyone to target customers who take certain actions on your site with products and brand content that they have an affinity for. So an example of this is a merchant could run a test to see if a banner of a blue Armani coat performs better than a banner of a gray Guess jacket on top of their men's coats category page. Instead of simply finding out which banner performs better, the merchant can then use our merchandising insights tooling to dig deeper and see how customers who click the first banner differ from customers who click the second banner in terms of the product or brand they ended up purchasing. Those who click the Armani coat banner basically purchase Armani coats, then the merchant knows to show those who click the Armani banner more Armani products. It makes sense, right? This can help merchants understand how different imagery, copy, and CTAs affect the sales of their actual catalog. Competitors like Dynamic Yield and Optimizely are actually only able to show which variation drives more total conversions, but they're not able to take that step deeper, see how each variation affects what individual products are being purchased. So let's dive into a couple quick examples of this here. So you can see in this merchandising and insights example in variation A, you're seeing which products customers bought when they saw this variation. In variation B, you want to see which products customers bought when they saw this variation. And why would you do this? Well, essentially, you're trying to understand, okay, are there specific products that a customer might be buying if they're shown specific camping and outdoors content personalization in their banners? Conversely, are there specific fishing products that they might be buying if you're targeting them with fishing specific banners on your homepage as well? And what you're able to do is you're able to look inside merchandising insights and you're able to see which products those are. So what this really does is it helps eliminate a lot of the guesswork here. You don't have to guess, okay, are they looking for fishing pants or fishing backpack or whatever it might be? If you're seeing, okay, if everyone who sees this content banner is purely just going to buy this backpack that you're seeing on here, then we should really keep that up front and center, because that's going to increase the conversions for us that we're seeing on that page. So our second example here is how you can bring in segment insights to improve the nature of testing here too. So not only are you able to test different content banners or product recommendations based on how they affect the sales of individual products, you're also able to see how they affect the purchasing behaviors of segments on your site. So one example that we see here is a variation A versus a variation B. And in variation A, our hypothesis is that this test, specifically targeting people shopping for children's clothing, will perform better with segments of people who have purchased that type of clothing in the past. Our hypothesis is similar for variation B, where we're basically assuming that if we're showing trail running imagery, people who have bought trail running products in the past will be more likely to click through. What you can do is you can run this test, both of these tests against each other, and see how they perform with each individual segment. And often what you'll see is something like this. So what we saw in variation A was actually that there's no significance, there's no uplift, and therefore no action points. We're not going to do anything because we didn't notice that our segment of users that we previously identified as having an affinity towards children's clothing are probably not going to be, more inclined to click through and purchase again if they see this type of imagery. However, variation B does perform better for trail running segments. And then this means that there probably is an action point to take to help improve your total number and conversions. And that's to make this your default experience for trail running segment. So you can see here how not only can you use A/B testing and optimization to understand the performance of individual product sales and KPIs within your different tests, you can also use it to back into different segments on your site and see how it affects how they purchase and how they act on your site as well. So from here, we're going to move into a quick product demo that I will show you by clicking into our dashboard. Just one sec. So here's a look at our A/B testing and optimization dashboard. Let's dive right in. The first thing you'll see here is you can choose your test type, either campaign test where you can do split test on one element on a page, or you can do an experience test where you can do split testing or multivariate tests across a number of elements and pages. For this, let's keep it simple and stay on a campaign test. The first thing you'll want to do is name your test and give it a description. From there, make sure you scroll back up, see that everything's okay, and then you can click next onto the next section. So from here, you can choose your optimization goal based on whether or not you want to optimize for revenue KPIs or if you want to optimize for engagement KPIs that you can also see on the right-hand side here. For this example, we'll optimize for conversion rate and a revenue KPI. Next, you can select which segment of customers you want to target for your tests. So you can scroll down here and look at all the great segments you've already created within Nosto and select them from there. We'll be working off of Nike fans. After this, you want to choose where you want to test on the site. We'll be looking at the front page, and we'll be selecting it as an on-site content campaign instead of looking at product recommendations. For here, we'll want to target them with Nike alternative brands against a Nike hero banner as the base. You can also add different variations on this stage as well. Additionally, this is where you can turn on continuous optimization, determine whether or not you want the traffic split to be dynamic based on performance, or you can turn it off. Decide if you want to actually determine the amount of traffic individually that goes there instead of having it be dynamic. So you can do this for your tests. Either way, it's completely your choice. From here, you can select next and look at a summary of your tests before hitting save and activating it on your site. Once the test begins running on your site, after a little bit of time, then you can dive into merchandising insights and see how it's performing against your actual product catalog. So we'll be able to see that here by clicking into the Merchandising Insights tab. where you can see all of the different top products that customers bought who were actually shown the different variations within your test. This is a really great way to see how each test affects the sales of your actual product feed. You can also look in and see the top brands that they bought. In this example, you can see that Nike has been bought way more than Doc Martens. This is a really great way for you to help optimize your campaigns for total success. So with all of this in mind, I wanted to pass it back to Matt from here to help dive into how Cynthia Rowley was able to use A/B testing and optimization to drive success for their own on-site efforts.
All right, so let's switch gears a bit. Emily Andrews, VP of e-commerce from Cynthia Rowley, has joined us today, and she's going to talk about her experience with A/B testing and optimization. So thanks for joining us, Emily.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Tell us a little bit more about Cynthia Rowley as a brand.
Cynthia Rowley is a women's lifestyle brand based on fashion as an adventure. We have a pretty meets sporty style across a lot of different product categories, mainly ready-to-wear, surf and swim, and accessories. We've been around for a number of years, and we have 12 physical locations, and we do pop-ups nationwide. We like to create an experience where we go and make the experience continuous across all our different touch points, digital, brick and mortar.
So tell me a little bit more about how you guys are using Nosto today. So you've got product recommendations on a variety of different places, right?
We do. We have them on our product pages. We just now have them on our category pages. We have one on our home page, which is kind of cool. I think it's the one featured in this slide. It's down at the bottom, and Nosto designed it for us, which was really nice. They're engaging, so keeps people kind of focused.
Let's talk a little bit around the challenges that you guys have had previously. You guys are big believers in personalization. Tell me a little bit more about your history with doing kind of regular ongoing A/B testing.
So we've done, more limited A/B testing in the past, but not so much with a sophisticated tool like Nosto's continuous optimization. There's not a lot of tools out there for people to independently use that don't require development work. They're sometimes not built for marketers. And then, of course, there's concerns about risk of performing results. So this tool is really great in that it minimizes the risk of A/B testing. So we're really excited about that.
So tell me a little bit around this particular test that you guys did with Nosto. It was on the category page, is that right?
Yes. So the recently viewed products just really made sense because it keeps the site visitor kind of focused and automatically saves what they've previously been looking at, right at the bottom of the page. And I think it sort of creates less friction, and it's just a great way to keep them in the shopping funnel.
And so when we looked at the results here, we saw that this new variation of having that new recently viewed recommendation on there had a 50% better conversion rate, 8% more revenue per visit, and de-risked it because of the continuous optimization.
Yeah, so it was super easy. Once we decided on the test we wanted to do, then we thought about maybe we only want to show it on certain collection pages at first to see how it does, test against each other, but it's not really judging apples to apples. So then we talked to Nosto about it, and they were like, oh, you can A/B test by splitting the traffic, putting it on all collection pages versus not.
So this is a chart on the traffic allocation, which happened with continuous optimization. So what I think is really interesting here is that this is essentially was invisible to you guys, but to the Cynthia Rowley team, but it was kind of a lot of sophisticated stuff happening under the hood. And so we can see here that I think it was about 8 days or so into the test that we started to show statistical significance between the two variations.
I think that adding anything new to one's website, you never know exactly how things are going to be impacted. So the more you can do to, reduce the downsides is great.
So tell us a little bit more about what's next for your team in terms of kind of doing additional testing.
We have recommendations on many pages and they do perform well, but I think with this new tool and the continuous optimization feature, we'll definitely go back and continue to test over time.
Emily, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate the insight and overview.
Yeah, we're excited. Thank you.
Okay, Matt and Emily, thank you so much. I know we all really enjoyed that case study. That was really informative. At this point, I wanted to move it into our Q&A. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them now. Looking through it here. Oh, okay. So here's a good one we actually get a lot, and one question that we got a lot internally when we were talking about this product as well is, can I run tests with Nosto on any site element? So the answer to that quite simply is yes. Nosto can deliver almost every element on the site through content personalization. So for instance, almost every element aside from the add to cart button on our demo site is populated using Nosto. So if you ever go to our demo site or see that, you'll see that basically anything can be personalized and tested. So it's really a great way to efficiently test anything and everything on your site. Let's look at a couple more coming in here. So one quick one coming in is, why is Nosto not considered a full testing solution? This is a good one here. So one quick thing to mention is there are some specific vendors out there who will only do testing, but at Nosto, we're actually consider ourselves a full personalization solution. So we move beyond just testing. So instead, our testing is actually built to optimize the positive impact that personalization can have on your site, right? So it's testing all of that. With this in mind, almost, again, all of our elements on websites are content that can be populated through our OCP, or on-site content personalization. So it's really easy to test anything should you want to, but then we can take it that step further and really help you optimize, on a personalization level across all of your site. So that's a really great question. One thing coming in here is, so why should I use Nosto instead of the peer testing solution? I kind of hit on this before, but one important thing to note is that even if you are using a current testing tool, Nosto is able to provide incremental value that they're not, right? And that value comes from Nosto's commerce focus. So we're really able to combine our merchandising insights that I mentioned before with continuous optimization to ensure that you're driving tests that are aiming for the most profit, right? So we can do this by ensuring only the highest performing variants are shown with continuous optimization. And then we're really able to take that to go a step deeper by revealing how the testing affected the sales of individual products and brands to help inform future merchandising or marketing strategies. One quick thing to keep in mind is that Nosto can test, again, the majority of all the elements on the site. So it really is parallel to a lot of the different testing solutions that are out there. Again, we just take it that step deeper. A good question here is, can you do funnel testing? So this is, again, a question that we got a bit internally. Yes, we do funnel testing. This is what we call experience tests, what I had described before. So what experience tests really help you do is they help you ensure that you're testing elements on multiple different pages, from home page to category page to cart page, checkout, whatever it may be, all the way down the funnel of your site to ensure that you're really creating the most optimized experience to get customers to convert from that first page to the last. So while some other people may call this funnel testing, we'll do the same thing. We just really attack this with our different experience tests. So we're running up a bit short on time here. I wanted to thank everyone a lot for joining today. I know we're really excited about this product, and we're really excited for you to join this webinar today as well. If you do have any more questions and we didn't get them today, I'll make sure to collect them and pass them off to our internal team so that we can help give you the appropriate answer. Again, thank you so much and have a great day.